Yesterday, I had the solemn honor of attending the memorial service for Carl H. McBride. However, most people knew him simply as Coach. And as I sat in that pew, I was thinking that everyone is worthy of such a fantastic memorial service and wonderful eulogy. However, is everyone deserving of such an honor? And so I have created a 4-step process to help you live your eulogy. And so you can be remembered in a way comparable to Coach. First of all, be caring. Now, for Coach, this meant coaching. He coached various sports for 34 years at Walled Lake Consolidated Schools. Those sports were wrestling, football, track, and cross country. He also taught kids how to drive through driver's ed, and actually, he extended his tutelage to people outside of the school year. In fact, he took me driving in a hilly place up in northern Michigan before I got my driver's license. And let me tell you that being taught by Coach to drive really made me a better driver because I knew how to deal with stress better. He also taught many people to learn how to water ski. And again, he did it in his own way. For me, for example, he taught me to water ski behind a canoe using a trolling motor. Now, the trolling motor was just to propel the canoe. He lifted me out of the water with his arm. This is how strong this guy was. And I have to tell you, it was by fear alone that I stayed out of the water because I didn't know what he'd even do if I fell. But that was Coach. He wanted to help people become the best versions of themselves in whatever endeavor they wanted. And it showed from the numbers of athletes he coached, to his students in the classroom, to the number of people he transformed into great drivers and passable water skiers. Secondly, you can be absolutely irrepressible. One of my all-time favorite book series is called, fittingly, Dungeon Crawler Carl. And a phrase that's uttered often in Dungeon Crawler Carl is, we all have our limitations. And that's true. However, that doesn't mean we can't try for a lofty goal. And that's what makes life sometimes more vibrant and more exciting, is when we're reaching for something that might scare us or that challenges us in one or many ways. And for Carl, this meant becoming a champion wrestler, coaching champion wrestling teams, championship-worthy wrestling teams, just being the absolute best and helping others reach that level of greatness. So what can you do to become absolutely irrepressible? What's a goal that you are wanting to achieve but are actually scared to do? For me, I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And I've tried a few times and I've failed all those times. But I'm going to keep at it because Coach has taught me to become absolutely irrepressible. And I want you to have that same fiery spirit to go for whatever you want to achieve. Thirdly, to be like Coach is to be real. Let's face it, if you know Coach McBride, you know he was one of a kind. There is absolutely no one else like him. And he lived his life like that. He wasn't apologetic for how he grew up or how he coached or how he taught or how he lived his life. Now, That's not to say that he did anything that he wanted. Of course, he was a kind person and he wanted to be a benefit to the world, but he did it in his own way. And anyone who knows him will tell you the same. And so how can you be more authentic, more real, so you are more memorable to people around you? Finally, to be like Coach, you must be loving. Coach absolutely loved and adored his wife, Judy, his bride of 62 years, his 4 kids, Steve, Tim, Wendy, and Mark, his fantastic grandchildren, and his many friends and former students. You could tell that he did through the way he just gushed about them, how he sometimes pushed them to become their best. We all show love in our different ways, but he loved people, even by bringing in a random family that just happened to be staying at the same resort they were 1 week in 1980 to make them lifelong friends. And so how can you be loving to someone today? It doesn't have to be someone that you're related to or friends to. Just how can you show love and let them know that you are thinking of them and you want the best for them? So if you were paying attention, I said you should be caring, be absolutely irrepressible, be real, and be loving. And you take the first 4 letters of all of those 4 steps, and that's Carl. So I challenge you, if you want to live your eulogy, if you want to be remembered in a beautiful and wonderful way, be Carl. Be caring. Be absolutely irrepressible. Be real and be loving. So even if you don't have the pleasure of having known Carl H. McBride, you will have lived a life worthy of his eulogy. Love you. Remember always to pass imperfection and go for greatness.